Hi, and welcome to the 5th episode of Educational Screencasts. I'm your host, Paul Anderson. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Paul Anderson. And I've started writing a blog this summer, and you can read that and the blogs of other teachers and students at theboldstandard.com. Which I'm really into. It seems like it's growing, and I'm excited about that. The piece of software that I'm using today is a piece of software called XMIND. And XMIND is really good at making mind maps or concept maps or organizational charts. And I'm kind of a visual person, and so if I can make something like this, it'll help me explain something or understand something. And so I find in my classroom it's really helpful to do that as well, and kids enjoy that. Now, if you're thinking about mind mapping as far as education, the piece of software that you've heard a lot of is something called Inspiration. Inspiration is a ball to use, really fun to use. I've used it in class before. Problem is that it's not free. It's licensed, and so you're kind of beholden to the people at Inspiration. And so the piece of software I'm using today is super simple, and it has this sharing ability onto the web that makes it really fun. And so I've been using it a lot, and I hope to use it in my classroom this fall. And so let's take a look at that. If you go to XMind, it's going to go to xmind.net. And so this is what their website looks like. You can share different mind maps that you've created already. So here's a mind map of the day. I don't know what that language is. But if you click on downloads right here, it'll bring you to an area where you can download it. And so it's not a web-based software. It's going to be software that you have to download onto your computer. Nice thing about it, and I always try to choose software like this, you could install it for Windows, Mac, Linux, and so it's totally cross-platform. And so you'll have to download the software here. The current version I've got is version 3, but they also have different language packs. Really cool. And so let's get out of that, and let's actually go check out the software. And so when you start XMind the first time, it's going to bring up a window that looks like this. And so what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to show you some of the important things of XMind, or at least things that I think are important, and I'm going to do that by just modeling the software. And so what do I think about it? Number one, I think it's fun to use. I also think that a good thing about it is that it is open source. And what that means is that it is free, and that's always good for education. What else do I like about it? It's super easy to use. And so what do I mean by that? It's totally graphical. You can see that kind of as I use it. It's all drag and drop. And so maybe I don't want to Topic 3. Okay, so let's kind of talk about easy to use. If I want this to kind of exist maybe somewhere else, like I want easy to use over here, I can simply just drag it, and I can position stuff in a different spot, maybe where I want it to be. It's super easy. It's graphical. You can see that it kind of adjusts everything as I move it around. I can drag it, so if I wanted graphical to be a topic that actually is more related to fun, I could just drag it over to that, but I want to kind of relate that to easy to use. And so super easy to use, and then kind of fun. Once you start playing around with mind mapping software, I don't know if you've ever done that before, but it's really fun. And for me, I can just see this right now, and I can see some of the benefits of the software. And so that's kind of cool. Other things that I think are neat about it, and I had mentioned that before, is that it is cross-platform. What does that mean? It means that you could install it for Windows, you could install it for Mac, OS X, you could install it for Linux. Now, you should see as I move through here is that everything I'm doing right now, I'm doing without using my mouse and clicking around. And so if I want to add a new topic to XMind, all I do is hit a tab. It's almost like you're doing an outline. And so if I want to add something new, like it's really easy to share material, I can do that. And then if I hit tab, it brings up a new subtopic. And so, for example, you can export these mind maps. You could export it as a text file. You could export it as an image. So you could export it as like a JPEG or a bitmap. Let me try that again. Or you could export it as PNG. And so that whole thing, maybe I don't want that, I'm doing without really touching the mouse. And so that's speeding everything up. If as far as exporting it goes, You could also export it as like HTML. Maybe I don't want that. And you could also export it, maybe I want a new topic to the web. Just really simple, kind of exporting like that. What I mean here by web, obviously you could make your own HTML file, but what I mean here is that they have their own website where when you're done, you can just simply click on this upload button and it'll put it on their website for other people to see it. And so that's kind of cool. I can drag it about again and move material wherever I want it, so I get it looking, let me see, looking nice, kind of like that. I could bring up some other things to kind of style it up a little bit. So maybe I want to try a different theme. And so I want to do a classical theme like this, or I kind of like this right here. Academics. Maybe not. So let me go back again. Maybe this is it right here. Okay, and so it looks way better, and so they've got some nice themes that you could actually use. Other things you can do, let me actually hide that. You can take image files, so this is an XMIND one, and you can drag that in right here, and then we've got a little graphic inside it. And I could maybe make that a little smaller so it looks nicer. So I've got XMIND right here. There's also a number of things that it comes with, and so you've got markers like this. And so maybe I think the most important thing about XMIND, or why I think it's important, is that it's open source. And so I could put a 1 right next to that. Let me go back to that again. It's fun, and so we could put maybe a fun right here. What else? We could go to styles, and so you can change anything on here that we've talked about. It's kind of customizable. Sometimes when I look at something like this, for me, I can kind of lose myself because there's a lot of material over here. And so let's say that I want to take this material over here and lump that. So I could lump this over here and then put a bubble around that. And so now I have that sharing as a separate little part. And so I can make some organization as far as that goes. And then when I'm done, I could save it, obviously, or I could export it. And when I export it, it's going to give me all these different options as far as exporting goes. But like I showed you a second ago, you can just click on this button and I could say upload it. And it's just going to take a second. It's going to upload my map. And we could click on this and it's going to bring me onto the internet, and it's going to automatically share that. And so other people can see it, they could comment on it, they could download it and make changes like that. So really, really cool and simple, easy way to share it. I can see in the classroom this would be a great way to kind of share ideas and bounce ideas off of each other. Let me go back to the XMIND for just a second, wherever you went. Okay, other things you can do. Oh, I guess we were on the web there. That was weird. There's a bunch of other preset things that you can come with. And so there's like a brainstorming chart to start, or you could start with a meeting chart. This is one I was looking at earlier that I would actually not mind using. You can see here that if I click on this plus button right here, it adds more material. So location, time, I could add attendees to it. I could put the agenda on here and all the different items. And so it allows you to organize your mind. And that's, I think, where the idea or the name comes from. So that's XMIND, really nice alternative to Inspiration, but with that whole ability to share it on the internet and upload and download others. Really, really cool. And I'm super excited about using it this fall.